Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the GE Refrigerator Defrost Heater Assembly. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the instructions and the new defrost heater assembly. The defrost heater assembly is located in the freezer section and it melts the ice off the evaporator during the defrost cycle. The main reason to be changing it out is if the element has failed and the evaporator is icing up, causing the fresh food section to be warm. In order to get to the part, we have to open up the freezer door and remove all the shelving. First thing we're going to do is take out the ice bucket. All you have to do is lift up on it and pull it out. To take the shelves out, you have to pull them out until they hit the stops and then lift them up and guide them the rest of the way out. Once you have them out, you can set them aside. To get the bin out at the bottom, just pull it out and lift it up, and then pull it out the rest of the way. Now that we have all the shelves out, we're going to take the light lands out. There's 3 screws behind it that we have to remove to get the back panel off. We're going to take the light lands off to get it out of the way so we don't damage it. Once you have the screw out, you can slide it to the left and take it out. With the light lens out of the way, we can reach in with our Phillips screwdriver and remove the 3 screws that hold the top of the panel in. With the upper 3 screws removed, we can use the 1/4-inch nut driver to remove the 2 on the bottom. Now that we have the screws out, we can pull the panel down a little bit and reach up and grab the top of the panel and guide it out. You're just going to pull one side out so it clears the rails, and then you can pull it all the way out of the freezer. Now that we have the back panel off, first thing we're going to do is unclip the defrost thermostat from the evaporator line. It's clipped down right here with a little metal clip. We're going to carefully lift it off. We don't want to damage that line or anything. Once you have it off, we're going to pull the wires out and find where they go. They go to this terminal block right here that has the wires for the heater and the defrost thermostat. All you have to do is unplug it, and then we're going to carefully pull each wire out from each side of these foam blocks. We got the pink one on the right and the blue one on the left. We're going to carefully pull them out from behind the evaporator lines, making sure we don't damage anything. And then we're going to set them all the way down on the bottom of the freezer so we can go down there and take off the defrost heater. Remember, if you have the style that has 2 heaters, you have to take out the heater that's mounted in the middle also. We only have the one at the bottom, so we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to reach in and take it out. Here's the old defrost heater assembly next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. The defrost heater assembly replaces a bunch of older style defrost heaters that actually had 2 heaters. You're going to have to read the instructions and actually know the cubic feet of your refrigerator and go along with those instructions. As you're reading over the instructions, you have to know what cubic foot your refrigerator is, so it's best to look at the model number tag and get the cubic feet off of that. There's 2 different instructions and it's all for different sizes. This one's for 24, 28, and 30, and this one's for 20, 22, 21, 25, and 27. On these sizes, you want to make sure you read the instructions. The main thing they want you to be aware of is to make sure that the wires don't touch the evaporator and damage the coating of the wires. You also have to make sure that the excess is wrapped up and there's no chance that it's going to hit the evaporator fan. On these sizes, you have to follow along with the instructions, and you actually have to drill a hole in the back wall and use a zip tie to attach the suction line and pull it closer to the liner so it's not in the way of the new heating element. And on the back side, they talk about how you have to make a water loop for the end of the wire harness and route it up through the air duct and use some zip ties to hold it in place. So it's very important that you know the cubic foot size of your refrigerator when you're swapping out the element. Now, if you open up your back wall and you see that you only have one heater and somebody's already converted it, then you just have to install it the same way the old one was. Here's the suction line they were talking about that you may have to press up against the back wall with a zip tie that's in the way of the heater. And on our model, it was already converted. Here's the cabinet harness. It's already been wrapped in aluminum tape, and somebody made a drip loop with a zip tie, and it goes up through the air hole into the fresh food section. And on the top, as far as the first set of instructions go, you want to make sure as you're routing the wires up that it doesn't touch the evaporator coils. These are pretty sharp and it can puncture through the wire pretty quick. And up here is where, on that style, the evaporator fan is mounted. So you got that extra wire up here that you have to secure so it doesn't interfere with the fan. Our freezer already had the single defrost heater in it, so we're just going to install the new one the same way the old one was. To put the new defrost heater in, on this side we're going to make sure that the pink wire is behind the heater and over the top because it goes up against the little styrofoam block, and once we put the heater in place we won't be able to get it past it. So once you have this on there, we're just going to put the heater back in and hook it on the mounts. There's these little hooks right here. We're going to hook it on and then put the screws in. Now we can put in the screws to hold the heating element in place. Now that we have the heater mounted, we can run the wires up each side. Remember, you want to keep it away from the evaporator as much as possible and run it up and hook it in the foam block. Once you have the pink one done, we can route the blue one. Once you have everything mounted, we can reconnect the wiring harness. It can only go on one way, so all you have to do is line it up, snap it into position, make sure you get a good connection. Then we can grab the defrost thermostat and reclip it onto the evaporator coil line. Be very careful, just push it on gently. And once you have everything in place, we can push any wires back into these little clips that came out and try to keep the wires away from the evaporator. Once you have everything reinstalled, we can put the back panel on the freezer. You want to angle it in there just like when we took it out, and make sure that you don't kink up the gaskets on either side. Once you have it in place, we can reach down in there and lift it up so we can use our Phillips screwdriver to put in one of the top screws to hold it in place. Once you have one screw in, we can put the other two in. Once you have the 3 screws in on the top, we can use our 1/4-inch nut driver to put the screws in at the bottom. If the second screw hole doesn't line up, you may have to reach in and flex the panel a little bit and line it up. Now that we have the back panel installed, we can put the light lens back on. To put the light lens back in, we're going to line it up at the end of these rails and lift it up into place so each end comes up, and then we can slide it to the right and put the screw in. Now that we have the light lens reinstalled, we can put all the shelves in. To put the lower bucket in, all you have to do is line it up on the supports and push it back into place. Once you have it in place, we can put in the 3 shelves. Now that we have the shelves put back in, we can put the ice maker bucket back in. All you have to do is line it up with the shelves and push it back into place. Once you have it all the way in, you can close the freezer door. Now that you have the new part installed, you can plug the refrigerator back in and make sure it starts to cool. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.